Hi everyone, welcome back to Between Worlds Tarot. In today's pick card reading, we are going to look into a message from your future self. And before we start the reading, if you ever resonate, please subscribe so you won't miss any future readings, and because it really helps the channel grow. Comment down below. I am really curious to see what you have to say, and also kindly press the like button. And if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you will find my email in the description box below. You can also DM me in my Instagram or TikTok account. If you are interested in tarot readings that are love related and relationship guidance, you can check my first channel, Between Realms Tarot. You can find the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for staying through this intro, and let's head to the pile selection. For today's reading, I have 3 piles for you, represented by 3 oracle cards. And so for pile number 1, your oracle card says a letter, news, message, communication. For pile number 2, your oracle card has this portal and it says new beginnings, new path, potential, infinite possibilities. And for pile number 3, your oracle card is going to be divine guidance with this compass, and it says trust, direction, you are guided. As usual, relax all of your muscles, let go of all of your thoughts and your worries, and choose the pile that draws you the most. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, you can definitely do that. This reading is timeless and it will resonate whenever you find it. You will find the timestamps in the description box below, and if you have picked your pile, let's start your reading. Hi, pile number 1. If you have picked a letter, this is going to be a reading about a message from your future self, and so let's start your reading. So pile number 1, I see you aligning with this future self that is sending you this message from the future. And in a way, you're right now undergoing some type of a metamorphosis that is kind of awakening you to your capacity to self-express and to voice out your thoughts. I feel like some of you, pile number 1, are maybe working on projects related to the intellect. Maybe there are students in this pile, or maybe there is something that requires you to speak, to communicate thoughts, to philosophize, to... There is something in your life that heavily focuses on, again, it might be a profession, a job, a project, an artwork, anything. You might be even a teacher. But what I see here is that a lot of what's going on in your life depends on what you communicate and how you use your voice. And so it looks like you're aligning with this future self in a way that allows you to speak up and to express yourself without fear of not belonging or fitting in. I feel like in this pile specifically, I see a lot of fears. A lot of cards here show mental chatter and mental noise and a lot of thoughts that come sometimes from fear and sometimes from overthinking. There is maybe here a fear of not fitting in, and also some of you might fear losing again. Yes, so I see here that your future self is, the first message actually from your future self is to not be afraid to speak up your mind anymore, to become someone who speaks independently of anyone's opinion, and someone who has, let's say, pride, not in a negative way, but in your thoughts, to trust your own mind, to trust your own authenticity, even if it's very different. And I don't know why I'm hearing queer. That might be something some of you resonate with. And so your future self is trying to tell you to think independently, to know that you have the door open, to not fear thinking and feeling and speaking independently, and to not fear the, let's say, the uniqueness of your minds, of your thoughts, and of your self-expression. And so there is a huge emphasis on being oneself without or unapologetically here. Starting here with the Two of Pentacles, it seems like this future self is a future self that is, as you see in this card, the snake sheds its skin, but it's a complete transformation. There are two trees with two pentacles on them, but those two pentacles have different symbols. But that's not what matters right now. What matters is this complete transformation of the skin. That's what is drawing my attention a lot. And the skin here, the old one, is like, almost not there anymore. And so your future self is somebody who learns to finally adapt itself to the changes, to the everything that is going on around it, or around this future self. It's not afraid of what's going on around. It's perfectly or it gained the strength to adapt and to be flexible, and which means that there is more security that this future self of yours attended. So you're becoming someone who does not cling to the old you anymore. You're becoming somebody who's not afraid of expressing yourself. And because of that, you're becoming more secure in who you are and ready to tackle the battle of, expressing yourself authentically despite the oppositions. Transformation is definitely a theme here in this pile. And so this future self is becoming more free and more secure in expressing itself without fears, and also becoming more adaptable, which means becoming more secure. Maybe a lot of your current insecurities are transforming and changing into strengths, and it's making you, again, more flexible and adaptable and ready to battle and not afraid of expressing yourself anymore. The King of Wands here is the most important message from your future self. This is, let's say, the emphasis. And the King of Wands gives us a message of relying on oneself. There is a lot of confidence that the future self is calling you into. A lot of leadership is within you that this person is trying, or this future self is trying to highlight in you. This future self is trying to tell you to trust your instinct, to trust the fact that you have the freedom to choose what you want in your life, and that the path for you is open if you choose to trust your instinct and your intuition. You are the leader of your path right now, and nothing is kind of staying or in your way, on your way, unless it's you. So your future self's most important message is that for you, pile number one, your life is currently dependent on you, on your decisions, and your decisions must be led by your intuition and your instinct, and also on your ability to take charge without fear and to trust in yourself and to be confident about your choices. With the Ten of Swords here, this is the pattern that this future self is trying to tell you that it's blocking your alignment right now. And as you see in this Ten of Swords, there is a battle that was lost before in your life. There is something that ended up in the worst way possible. It's almost like the worst case scenario happened somewhere in your life, maybe in a job, maybe in your life in general, maybe it's your studies, a relationship. Something felt like it was lost. Something felt like it broke forever, or it broke something within you. And even if it's something is broken and something feels lost, this future self is trying to tell you that after the loss, there needs to be moving to the next chapter. Don't sit so much in the loss, in the pain. Don't sit so much or too much in the regret. Don't sit a lot in the loss, because it's affecting your progress. It's holding you back. Maybe it's kind of not really helping you in making decisions about your future and about your what you want to do in life, out of fear of loss or out of fear of repeating the loss. And so the future self here is trying to tell you to move past that lost battle, because you are now in a new chapter, and you need to move accordingly. The King of Swords here is what you need to focus on for the next few months. This is something that your future self is trying to tell you to focus on. And so the King of Swords here shows someone who has, maybe in your case, ideas, inspirations. There is a mental capacity within you. There is, again, a strong mind and a creative mind. Let's say maybe even a revolutionary mind that has many resources. Your thoughts have this capacity of changing, and there is a lot of intellect within you. I see somebody who maybe in this, pile number one, you might be someone who has a lot of knowledge and a lot of this type of genius intellect here, but it's almost like it's kind of holding you back instead of pushing you forward. And it's not because it's holding you back, it's because maybe your mind is being overcrowded by it, and instead of you actually directing those thoughts and moving them towards projects, towards your towards things that kind of move you ahead in life, they're stuck in your mind. And so your future self is trying to tell you to master your thoughts, to master your mind, to clear the clutter in your mind. Because these thoughts, again, you might be inspired a lot, you might be someone who has a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a lot of intellect, and you're being directed, or kind of you're being nudged into directing those thoughts and intellect into the right ways, and to use those resources, because they are resources. Your thoughts, your ideas, your intellect, they are resources, and you're being called to use them. But you're also being called to master your mind in a way to listen to the instinct, be aware of the fears, not let them hold you back, kind of distinguish between what is memory, what is current, what is possible, and what is factual. And so you're being called to focus on the next few months to on actually mastering your mind in or from all facets. With the Four of Wands, you seem to be rewarded in the future. And it's perfectly clear when we see the Two of Pentacles, this Two of Pentacles at the beginning of the reading, and this Four of Wands at the ending. Because it's not the ending of the reading, it's actually only the ending of the spread of the tarot. We still have 3 oracle cards to look into here. But the Four of Wands seems to be telling you, as a message from your future self, that there are moments where you're going to feel joy. There are moments where you're going to feel like you can finally just settle and observe things around you without being affected by them negatively or even positively. There are moments where you can just sit. You can just sit, you can observe, you can enjoy the moment, you can celebrate with people that care about you and that you care about, with people that don't have a problem with your intellect, with your freedom of mind and thought. And so there is a reward in all of this process that you're going through currently. There is something to celebrate and to look up to in your, actually in the near future, I see it, and also in the long-term future. And so there is an internal foundation that is forming within you right now. There's security that is being created within you, and there all of those insecurities are morphing, they're changing. And as you know, those insecurities need to be acknowledged and integrated, not shamed or hated. Now, with the silence card, so this is a direct message from your future self. And the silence card talks about, I see, like, I do have many messages here, maybe 2 or 3, but let's speak of the first one. The silence card talks about the silence. It talks about being comfortable in silence, being comfortable in inactivity. Sometimes inactivity gives us moments of celebration, of meditation, and we don't have to say much. We don't have to do much to reach happiness or contentment. So that is the first message. But another message is also, where do you have to fight? Where do you have to speak a lot and defend yourself? Where do you have to argue to fit in? That is important. There is a message about acknowledging where do you fit or where do you feel happy. There are people, or let's say social groups or groups in general, maybe family or friends or maybe colleagues, where you find yourself constantly having to say some things or things that help you fit in, perhaps to speak the same way others speak, to think the same way others think, and that is to integrate you somewhere. But you're being called to see where your silence is appreciated and where being silent is being understood. Where are you being understood even if you are silent? Where are you being seen and recognized even when you are silent? That is very, very important for you. Another message here might be to understand that sometimes being silent and not saying whatever, with this Mercury in Aquarius in the first house, there's a sharpness here to your speech, but it is related to other people or being with other people. But also, you don't have to say so much to be seen or to be recognized. Sometimes becoming quiet or sitting in that silence can make you connect more with yourself and connect more with your own wisdom and with your own inner knowledge and experience, instead of seeking to talk or communicate just to fit with other people or to be seen or recognized. So we have 3 messages, and I hope all of those resonated in a way or made sense. And if something that makes sense, you can definitely comment down below. I would really, like to clarify for you guys. So yeah, let's head to the next card here, which is the wholeness card with the black mulberry. And this is a practical advice from your future self. And I see here that the future self with Aquarius energy might be calling you to complete unfinished projects. Where do you have unfinished projects? Where is there unfinished business to deal with? Where are you still holding to something from the past, or where are you still holding on to unfinished business and maybe past losses? Where are you still kind of maybe, let's say, thinking about past hurts and past mistakes and past pains? And so you do need to let go of the past, and you do need to finish what is, still hanging, waiting for you to finish. Maybe, again, unfinished projects, unfinished lessons, because there are things that are kind of waiting for expansion. There are doors that are waiting to be closed and doors that are waiting to kind of enter through and to start. There are opportunities that are waiting for you to realize. And so there is also a warning here about what are you saying that is being misunderstood, or maybe it's miscommunicated by you actually. And so this pile keeps definitely returning to the theme of communication. Talking, when do you need to talk? When do you not need to talk actually? And so, yeah. When did your communication cause misunderstandings, losses? All of that needs to let go. You need to let go of where did you make mistakes and just integrate the lesson and move on. With the Liberty card here, this is a reassuring message from your future self regarding your freedom, regarding how much free will you have at hand currently. You are much more free than you currently believe to be. You have the key to your freedom within your hands, and so you don't need to wait for another person to give you your freedom of maybe self-expression or of moving to a path that you would like to move to. And so don't wait for permission anymore. You're being called to take the right decision and make the right steps towards freedom and towards paths that fulfill you, because you have the freedom. This pile and your future self is trying to point you towards your willpower and trusting your instinct. So, as a as a recap, pile number one, your future self is asking you to not define your past, not define yourself by your past anymore, to trust your own wisdom, to trust your own instinct, and to move with that, because your future self is definitely a self that has integrated its insecurities and became more adaptable and flexible and strong and not really held back by the past or by the insecurities of the past, and that a lot of confidence is there for you because a lot of your path is being guided by you and nothing else is stopping you anymore. Do not let the fear of not integrating or fitting in with other people hold you back from being who you truly are and pursuing what you truly want, because there are rewards, like during this journey and at the end of this journey, there are rewards regarding moments of just pure bliss and celebration and joy. So yeah, this is all I have for you, pile number one. I hope this reading resonated for you. If it did, please press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe so we won't miss any future readings. And because I really appreciate your presence and your support to this channel. And if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you will find my email in the description box below. You can email me, but you can also DM me in my Instagram or TikTok account. And if you are interested in love readings and relationship guidance, you can check my first channel, Between Realms Tarot. You will find the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here, pile number one, and see you next time. Hi, pile number two. If you have picked the New Beginnings card, this is going to be a reading about a message from your future self. And so let's start your reading. So, pile number two, first of all, a very strong message for you seems to be related to protecting what's dearest to you. I see here that with the energy of the North Node in Cancer in the third house, a message about learning how to connect and kind of, connect to what feels valuable the most, and connect to what feels, what you feel in your heart, and communicate it. Actually, it's almost like there is some type of a challenge that you're currently going through, pile number two, and this might be different for each and every one of you, but the theme here, or the shared theme for pile number two, seems to be connecting to what's most valuable at a very heart level. Cancer energy brings a lot of compassion, nurturing, intuition, emotional honesty, and the North Node brings experiences that point us towards growth, and they might be challenging, but the challenge is only meant to grow us and expand our perspective and our lessons. The third house points at communicating, it points at self-expression, it also points to learning and also creativity. It also points to courage, interestingly, and that is a so creativity and courage is a very important theme in here. With the Page of Swords, your future self, pile number two, is a self that is becoming somebody who is curious, somebody who learns, somebody who's able, or let's say eager and ready to learn with the Page of Swords. But the learning process for you, pile number two, seems to be or kind of pointing towards learning what is the most valuable to you, kind of understanding, and I feel like here, understanding how to solve problems. Your future self is a self that is maybe more open to possibilities, to solutions, and not really stuck in a mindset of anxiety and not knowing how to come up with solutions because of maybe not opening the perspective and not being ready to learn. And so your future self seems to be more open to learn and to grow. And I feel like the learning that your future self is gaining is about, first of all, how to communicate, how to express oneself in a creative way, and also how to solve problems in a creative way, but also how to kind of, maybe your future self found something specific that it cares about, or she or he cares about. Your future self is a self that found something valuable to work towards and to care about and to protect. As you see, this figure is protecting a goose in here and is also looking at the bag here with the coins, but instead it seems to be more kind of oriented towards protecting the goose, and that seems to be what's most valuable to this Page of Swords and to your future self. And so there is a theme here of remaining open to learning, but also, and to possibilities, but also keeping what's valuable here. And again, while your future self is very much open to possibilities, to creative solutions, to learning and growing, there is also still holding on and caring for what is valuable, what is currently valuable. Your future self seems to be keeping something that you might be afraid of losing right now. So if you are afraid of losing something specific, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a relationship, not necessarily romantic, a friendship, maybe a relationship to a parent or a colleague, a friend, a sibling, anything like that, or maybe a pet even with this goose, maybe it's a path, a hobby, anything that you care about. You might be afraid of losing that, but your future self seems to be very much holding on to that and keeping and protecting what it's valuable to you currently, but also open towards other possibilities. The Seven of Swords next here is the most important message, and there seems to be with the Seven of Swords a message of kind of working smarter, not harder. So that is a very let's say common message, a very common phrase that we use in a lot. And so though that might seem to be a message, but that's not actually the full scope of what we're trying to read here, because the Seven of Swords here, this specific card, talks about protecting what matters. And the best way to protect what matters for you currently, pile number 2, is by learning how to use your current resources in the best way possible, meaning not overdraining yourself, thinking strategically or strategizing your best course of action to protect the current things that you deem to be valuable for you, towards but also working towards other things. I feel like there's definitely something that seems to be something that you care about and afraid of losing, and it might be meaningful things. I don't see it as kind of security or money or financial security. I don't see that being the case. It might be the case here, might be just as an example, it might be something related to, maybe for an example, having a hobby, wanting, or for an example, if this hobby is crocheting or knitting, let's say knitting, and for some reason this hobby seems to be so dear to your heart, and yes, it is maybe very valuable to you. It's something that you don't want to lose. It's something that you don't see yourself letting go of in the future, and that is totally valid. Your future self is telling you that you can 100% do that. You can keep that hobby, you can keep knitting in the future. And though maybe knitting or your hobby is kind of not what you are relying on for financial stability. And so your hobby is very much valuable to you in an emotional way. It brings you comfort. but you're being called in a way that's just an example. That is not the reason, it's just an example. You're being called to cultivate other ways of security, to learn new things, to open your perspective towards other things too. And so that might be feeling a bit scary to you. It might feel a bit kind of anxiety inducing to you to have to think about or beyond the things that feel close to your heart, and to have to secure yourself in the material world. And so it feels very draining, it feels very scary. And so your future self is trying to tell you that if you plan carefully and move strategically, you're going to be able to conserve the things that you care about, the things that are close to your heart, and you're going to be able to use your resources in the right ways possible and not lose much, or not lose at all, not lose the things that you care about. And so your future self is trying to tell you that the best course of action for you is to be strategic and to think carefully. That is just an example, and I feel like it's a very, very small one. I feel like we can, apply a lot of examples in many domains of life when it comes to this reading. That is just a very, very small one. With the King of Pentacles here, this is what maybe your future self is trying to tell you to let go of, something that might block your alignment. And the King of Pentacles, this specific King of Pentacles, seems very, very protective over their own security. They seem to have worked hard for freedom, for for something that they have cultivated over a lot of effort and a lot of time. And maybe your future self is trying to tell you to let go of the stubbornness and to the clinging of the old ways of what feels stable, and kind of maybe feeling as if you need to secure yourself more before moving forward with anything. So your future self is trying to tell you to let go of stubbornness, of clinging to the old ways of thinking and believing and of working. And there's no doubt that there is something that kind of feels very dear to you, to your heart, something that you cling on to because you worked so hard on, and it brings you a lot of security and emotional fulfillment. But you're being called to let go of control and let go of stubbornness here, because it might block your perspective towards other things around you, and it might block your way of learning, because the King of Pentacles is at the end of this suit of Pentacles, and it might be, let's say, less open to learning. With the Nine of Swords here, this is what you should be focusing on for the next few months. Now, when we look at this Nine of Swords energy in what to focus on for the next few months, there is here, let's say, a reassurance from your future self about where are you worrying too much that your worries are becoming beliefs, limiting beliefs. Where are your fears becoming limitations? There is definitely a reassurance to this card from your future self, where there is definitely a lot to worry about in your life right now, but noticing where do you have control, and also taking initiation towards solutions. And in a way, understanding that worrying so much without being aware can turn into a limitation, and it can cloud your vision and maybe introduce more fears than necessary. And so the reassurance here is that a lot of what you want to protect and what you deem to be valuable, again, is protected. And a lot of the complications and the challenges that you are going through right now are solvable. And that a lot of the worries are maybe sometimes exaggerated kind of monsters here. They look like monsters, but they are just small worries that may poke on you, but only to be aware of them, not to limit you and limit your progress. The Nine of Cups here, as a final blessing that your future self is trying to tell you about, is related to a beautiful wish fulfillment outcome. You know, this female figure here that is trying to collect water might seem a bit worried about, all of the water that is on the floor and how it might not be reachable to her and it might be lost. But the birds here, according to this deck, are reassuring her that there is more than she needs, and that there is, there is no need to feel scared or worried or, about lacking in resources. But it is also about the, let's say, abundance of resources. And so an outcome for you here that is being maybe reminded, you're being reminded by this outcome, but it is actually being reminded by the abundance that you already have right now. And you're being reassured about the abundance that you will get in the future. And so there is plenty for you, pile number 2, and that you don't really need to worry. There is a lot that can fulfill you, let's say, for a very, very long time. There is definitely a call from your future self to trust. Yeah, so when we look at the Hawthorne wand here, this card talks about, it is a direct message from your future self, but it does talk about, let's say, first of all, authenticity. So learn to recognize what genuinely is something that resonates with your soul. Because what resonates with you, with your heart, what fulfills you, what makes you feel happy, is what is valuable. And what is valuable, if you recognize it, is something that is going to bring a lot of creativity and a lot of abundance and a lot of potential in your life. And so do not choose only from a place of insecurity. Choose what is valuable and most valuable to your heart, because if it feels alive to your heart, it will definitely create a lot of abundance for you. So the future that you are creating here is a future, let's say, that is guaranteed through authenticity, through choosing the things that are valuable to your heart, dearest to your heart, and kind of following your passion, because all of that is going to create a lot of abundance in your life. With the fertility card, there are a lot of shared themes in here about fertility, passion. As you see these hearts on the Hawthorne wand and the fire here, the fire flames, there are a lot of themes of passion, fertility, creativity in your future life, and that your future self is trying to point towards. And so here, a practical advice from your future self is about nurturing the things that you care about and that you deem, again, for the, 100th time, to be valuable, to be dearest to your heart, to be the things that you don't ever want to live without, because they bring you so much love, so much fulfillment, so much warmth and passion. And so do not abandon the things that you care about for the sake of practicality, because those things are what matter, and those things are what going to create abundance. And this card is also, let's say, an omen for the fact that you will reap what you have sown. And so if you are nurturing things that are valuable for you, they're going to produce value for you. And it is a reminder that all of the effort, to fight for the things that you care about, to protect the things that you care about, all of that is going to be rewarded by a lot of wish fulfillment in the future. And I do see that with this future picture of yourself as a self that is protecting what is valuable and not only being driven by power or money, but driven by what matters to you the most. So your future self is definitely not driven by materialistic things, even though that there's no shame about being materialistic. But there is a balance that we need to seek in our lives between, material fulfillment, financial success, and also the heart success, let's say, or what feels dearest to us the most. When it comes to maybe connections, again, hobbies, talents, not talents, but yeah, hobbies. I know that doesn't make sense grammatically, but yeah, hobbies, relationships. I don't know why my very much, you know, resonating with hobbies, but relationships, connections, hobbies, people, things. Yeah. With the keys on trees at the end as a final reassurance for you, pile number 2, is that you are never trapped. There is a way out. And interestingly, it's literally above the Nine of Swords card. And it is talking about notice where your limitations, the things that you perceive as limiting, are just limitations of the mind, that are beliefs, worries, anxieties. And notice where you're not maybe seeing the solutions to the actual challenges and the problems that you're going through right now. Because the elephant here has the key to their cage. And you're being reminded and reassured that, you know, there are ways for you to solve your problems currently that you might need to open your perspective to, and to be brave also. You're being called to be brave, to be courageous, and to be also creative, to open your mind, to think out of the box and find solutions to your problems, because sometimes the solutions are not missing. They're just maybe requiring an open mind, or a different perspective. And so you're not trapped. Your future self is telling you that you're not trapped. It's a challenge, but you have the solutions. Just think out of the box and you will definitely find them. So at the end here, as a recap for you, pile number 2, your future self is a self that is protecting what genuinely matters, and it's telling you to protect what matters, what speaks to your heart, what is authentically, speaking to you. And do not, kind of let go of the things that matter to you the most. Nurture them, because they are going to provide you abundance, really. So pile number 2, this was your reading. I truly hope it resonated for you. If it did, please press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe so you won't miss any future readings. And because it really helps the channel grow, I truly appreciate every one of you. And if you are interested in a private reading with me, you can email me. You will find my email in the description box below. You can also DM me in my Instagram or TikTok account. If you are interested in tarot readings that are love related, relationship guidance, you can check my first channel, Between Realms Tarot. You can find the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here, pile number 2, and see you next time. Hi, pile number 3. If you have picked the Divine Guidance card, this is going to be a reading about a message from your future self. And so let's start your reading. So pile number 3. First of all, there is a theme here of letting go of perfectionism. Your future self seems to be, I want to say, in a way, directing you towards letting go of attaching yourself to one identity in a rigid way. The Virgo energy in the first house with the South Node speaks about the identity and the self-image. But there is here with the K2 or with the South Node a need to release and to detach and let go of patterns of, consistently needing to perfect yourself, to criticize yourself, to analyze and improve yourself. And, improvement is always asked for and called for, but when it's overdone, it might lead to a rigid perfectionistic tendency towards oneself, not letting yourself enjoy life, not letting yourself be magical here, not letting yourself be inspired and be genuinely happy and experience life from a joyful place. And so the future self is not asking you to stop improving, but it's asking you to let go of constantly needing to fix yourself and to criticize yourself and to be rigid on yourself. And you need to kind of live also. You need to experience life and to stop and smell the roses, as they say. So with the high priestess here, your future self seems to be more comfortable with the uncertainty. Your future self here, as you see, this high priestess is a priestess that is sitting in this lotus pose between two pillars, a white and a black one. And these represent the theme of duality, of the existence of shadow and light complementing each other, being comfortable within that space of uncertainty and acceptance of the other, acceptance of, let's say, first of all, of your own shadow qualities, being aware of your shadow qualities, the negative and the positive ones, and being comfortable with them, but also integrating your light and your shadow is something that your future self seems to be comfortable with, seems to be sitting in without expecting too much from itself. Your future self seems to be comfortable in being imperfect, seems to be finding perfection in imperfection, and seems to be trusting its intuition. And when we reach this place of alchemizing our oppositions within ourselves and integrating our oppositions, we become comfortable with, let's say, or we work on, we get those, we call them sadhanas, and you know, we might be more in commune with, let's say, the unseen, the misunderstood, or the paranormal, the things that we cannot scientifically explain. Be comfortable with the mystery and with the unknown and with just the inner knowing and with the intuition. And so your future self seems to be comfortable there, seems to be working in that space with comfort and just with stillness here. The Ace of Cups seems to be the most important message from your future self, and this is about keeping your heart open. Dive in first. As you see this figure, she dives into this shell that is in the water head first here, without fearing without fearing the future. But this one talks about opening your heart to joy, opening your heart to renewal, to healing, to love, to creativity and inspiration, and to enjoy in life. And so your future self seems to be asking you currently to enjoy the process of spiritual awakening. You seem to be going through something like that, and your future self is trying to tell you to enjoy that process. The most important thing for you is to open your heart and to let your heart soak in joy rather than in perfection or in control or in needing to fix yourself. Because sometimes when we are in such types of spiritual journeys, we might tend to see ourselves as things, or humans that need to be fixed, that need to be perfected and controlled and directed, and the shadow cannot be integrated that way through putting effort into erasing it or into fixing it. The shadow can be only integrated through acceptance. And so you're being called towards accepting yourself and being compassionate with yourself, and to keep your heart open to joy, to the joy that you can receive through this journey. The Knight of Cups here is what might block alignment, and this is something that your future self is trying to kind of maybe point your focus towards. And so your future self is maybe pointing your focus towards not chasing fantasies. Do not chase fantasies. Do not idealize. Do not even maybe overgive. There seems to be maybe here an overgiving towards what is fantasy, towards what is idealized. And so maybe there is here a tendency for wanting to be an ideal version of yourself, maybe wanting to give so much of yourself towards others, and that is a way that we can find ourselves, or there's a path that we can find ourselves in when it comes to spiritual, to the spiritual journey, which is given off of ourselves, given to others. But overdoing it can be something that blocks alignment or delays your alignment, delays your progress. And so and that might be because of you wanting to become an ideal version of yourself. And so you're being called towards balancing that, and to see where are you striving for an ideal that might be delaying your progress instead of helping your progress. So idealization is something to be careful about, but also overgiving of yourself, draining yourself instead of letting yourself enjoy the process. The death here is what to focus on for the next few months. And you know your future self here is and so your future self seems to be pointing your attention for the next few months to the process of letting go, to the process of releasing outdated things that need to end, because the death card talks about the inevitable mortality of the human body and of the earth life, let's say. And so letting go of control over yourself, letting go of this perfectionistic tendency with this Ketu in Virgo in the first house, and letting, let's say, an authentic version of you emerge. The future self here is asking for you to let the transformation happen and release what is outdated, release what is holding you back, release an outdated version of yourself. The Hanged Man as the end seems to be the outcome, and it's a very the Hanged Man can talk about a painful situation where we find ourselves needing to sacrifice, but as a blessing here, or as a positive message from your future self, it seems to be telling you that surrendering a lot of your control and opening your eyes to more perspective is something that is going to result in more wisdom, and it's something that is going to untie you, because although the Hanged Man is tied here, if they move their wings, they will be able to release themselves from this hanging position. And so trusting in different perspectives, opening your mind and letting go of the stubbornness and the rigidity in how you identify yourself and what do you attach your identity to, sending all of that release is going to pan out in more, let's say, unity with existence. Enjoying your journey too is also there. All of this letting go process is something that you're going to enjoy, and it's something that is going to pan out in more magic in your life, really, because I see you maybe even gaining psychic perception here with the High Priestess, with the Be Magical, the Ace of Cups, the Death, the Journey, and the Hanged Man, the Ketu in the first house. People who have naturally Ketu in the first house might have this natural intuition and instinct that, or they might have claircognizance, clair knowing, where they might know things without understanding why or how. Ketu tends to be a very spiritual energy because it gives an inward perspective, or a reflective perspective, and then over the inner self, or towards the inner self, and that can result in a lot of perception, psychic perception. With the Be Magical card, as you see, this is a direct invitation from your future self to be magical, actually. And as you see, this tree seems to be bending in a really weird position. Like, we don't see many trees that bend, and this tree seems to be, in a way, enjoying that, having fun doing that. And so bending is a very important symbolism here, especially with that Ketu in the first house in Virgo. A lot of rigidity needs to be released, and there is a calling here for you from your future self to be fully yourself, to embrace yourself fully, and to find yourself, to free yourself of inhibitions that are imposed on you, whether it is by yourself or by others. Do not wait for permission to be yourself, but it is also about being flexible in life, and being flexible in how you present yourself. Be magical is a very, very important message from your future self here, to be flexible, to enjoy life, and to expect magic into your life, anticipate magic getting or enter in your life here with this card. With the duality card, though, this is a practical advice from your future self, and the advice here is to zoom out and to open your eyes to perspective, widen your perspective. The banana card here with the duality is encouraging you to have perspective and to see both the shadow and light, to not attach yourself rigidly into or to one perspective or the other, to not judge things by being right or wrong or by being shadow and light, to maybe say maybe more rather than yes or no, and to not force an answer before things are ready and before you gain perspective. And so it's very important for you to embrace more of the maybes rather than this or that being the final answer, and to widen your perspective and to receive more perspective, to open your eyes for other opinions and other point of views, and align yourself with things that feel right for you, but without forcing anything. So do not also live by external expectations. That seems to be a message, a practical advice from your future self. With the journey card at the end as a reassurance for you, there is here this reassuring message from your future self about releasing control. Relinquishing control is very important. If you find yourself sometimes maybe scared of releasing control, and your future self is telling you that it's completely fine to let control. It's completely fine to enjoy your steps, to enjoy your decisions and your actions, and to enjoy the journey here. It's what matters at this point rather than the end destination. And so the person that you're becoming is shaped by the journey that you're going through rather than the final destination. And so it's very important for you to enjoy that journey during this, spiritual path that you're going through here. You might also meet a lot of people with different perspectives, and that might in a way scare you or kind of make you doubt what's going on, if it's against your perspective or if it's different from you, and your future self is telling you to be more open towards those who have different perspectives and to connect beautifully with them, and to again open your perspective, choose to see the bigger picture before ever saying yes or no. Embrace more of the maybes before attaching yourself rigidly to one thing or another. And so this is, I think, all that I have for you, pile number 3. If this resonates for you, I truly hope it does, and I hope it makes sense for you. And so if it did, or if it does, please press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe so you won't miss any future readings, and because it really helps the channel grow. And if you are interested in a private reading with me, you can send me an email. You will find the email in the description box below, and you can also DM me in my Instagram or TikTok account. I reply generally very fast. And if you are interested in tarot readings that are actually love oriented, relationship guidance, and love readings, tarot readings, you can check my first channel, Between Realms Tarot. You can find the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here, pile number 3, and see you next time.